Welcome to the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing from Monday, January 24th. Over the last 7 days, we've had very dry conditions across many areas of the Great Basin, but some storms have brought light precipitation to parts of Idaho into Wyoming, and also parts of northern Utah and Nevada into the eastern side of Nevada. But for the most part, this precipitation was well below normal, or certainly below normal even in areas that we did receive some recent precipitation. Over the last 72 hours, we've had only some light amounts of snowfall in the higher terrain of eastern Nevada into western Utah, and then our snow depth is shown in the image on the right. Looking at how our snowpack relates to normal, you can see across all of the Great Basin and really much of the west, snowpack is near or above normal. Looking at our satellite loop from this morning, strong high pressure is dominant just off the west coast, but we are seeing a large trough of low pressure affect central and eastern areas of the U.S., and this is allowing a weaker system to drop south today into Montana and then eventually sweep south and east across Idaho into Wyoming and Utah, and this will bring some cloud cover and also some light precipitation to the eastern half of the Great Basin. Warmer and drier conditions will continue in the Sierra and over western and southern areas of Nevada. Looking at the weather for later today, again, that system drops south from the northern Rockies into the northern Great Basin, bringing some clouds and light precipitation to Idaho and Wyoming into northern Utah today. We will continue to see poor dispersion across most of the Great Basin. Looking at those transport winds, again, fairly light with the exception of some of the higher terrain of Wyoming and Utah, but for the most part, lighter, certainly in the valleys, and our mixing heights will remain low across the Great Basin. As we move into Tuesday, this area of low pressure drops south through Utah and into northern Arizona, and this will allow winds to shift to the north and northeast and be breezy behind the area of low pressure, especially over the southern half of the Great Basin. So we will see an improvement for our dispersion across the southern and eastern half of Nevada into much of Utah and the Arizona Strip. Looking at those transport winds on Tuesday, again with those brisk northerly winds, with cooler temperatures, we will see wind gusts in the 30s generally over the southern half of the Great Basin. We will also see higher mixing heights with these northerly winds in the south and still very low up across Idaho. As we move into Wednesday, we will get yet another system dropping south into the northern Rockies, clipping the northern and eastern side of the Great Basin, so another round of some clouds and light showers for those areas. Dispersion will return to low across the region on Wednesday. Winds will also decrease on Wednesday after some gusty winds tomorrow, so we will again see those lower mixing heights and poor dispersion across all areas. The clearing index for Utah supports this as well, with lower clearing indices today with those lighter winds, and then increasing on Tuesday, especially over the southern half of Utah with those gustier north to northeast winds, and then diminishing again on Wednesday as those winds decrease. Forecast amounts of precipitation are indicated here, and again, generally light amounts of precipitation with new snowfall in the higher terrain of parts of Idaho, Wyoming into northern Utah, with continued dry conditions over the southern and western half of the Great Basin. Moving into Thursday, that ridge of high pressure that's been off the west coast moves eastward and dominates much of the Great Basin later this week into the weekend, with warmer temperatures. Also fairly strong inversions are expected under this ridge of high pressure with lighter winds. We will still have better areas of dispersion over the southern half of the Great Basin going into Thursday, again with those winds shifting to the north again as that system towards the middle of the week passes to our south. On Friday, that ridge moves overhead, again expecting strong inversions, some warmer temperatures, especially in the higher elevations and in some of the valleys by the afternoon, and also seeing that dispersion decrease with winds being much lighter under the ridge. On Saturday, the ridge weakens a little bit with a weaker area of low pressure approaching Southern California, but this will largely not affect the Great Basin, so we're not expecting any precipitation associated with that low, and it will continue moving eastward into Arizona and the northern portion of the Baja Peninsula into Sunday. So no precipitation expected for Thursday through Saturday across the Great Basin and into the early part of next week. Looking at the 8 to 14 day outlook, taking us from the end of January into the first week of February, we are expecting a pattern change heading towards the early part of February with stronger, colder areas of low pressure moving into the west coast. So this will allow for temperatures to be below normal over northern and western sides of the Great Basin, and we are expecting more precipitation to return by the first part of February, especially to the northern half to 2/3 of the Great Basin. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back on Thursday for the latest updates.